Welcome to the Instant Ink Comic Book Podcast. This is the podcast where together we put together a one-page comic book, all live. We don't know what we're going to do right now. We haven't seen it. We haven't thought of it. We're all coming into this blind, and at the end of this, we'll have a nice little one-page story, end to end, beginning, middle, and end. Today, we have Mark with us to help us get this story together. But first, let's do quick introductions. My name's Adriano. You can find me online at Pesto Comics, pestocomics.com, and at Pesto Comics on nearly every social out there. I'm joined today by my friend and artist, Roberto Villacava. Please, Roberto, introduce yourself.
My name is Roberto Villacava. I'm the founder of Iceberg Press and creator of Voyager, and you can find me on robertovillacavaillustration.com. And most important, you have to subscribe and like this video on YouTube, please.
That's right. And we're learning from the pro, Mark here. He's got a very popular channel on YouTube and all that. But I'll let you introduce yourself, Mark. Let us know who you are, what you're about.
My name is Maia. I have a YouTube channel myself. It's called Board Game Coffee, which is focused on board games and surprisingly no coffee. But that's another story. I'm also a writer and creator of So-Called Living, which is a comic book that it's a different kind of vampire story. Let me put it that way. It's a dark comedy, and if you're looking for a different kind of vampire, then I got one for you. And so that's So-Called Living, and you can always check it out. Late pledge on Kickstarter. It's there for your grabbing, which currently it's probably the only way you can get it right now is on Kickstarter late pledge. So at least as of this recording.
Yeah, right on. Yeah, and I'm a backer myself, so I highly recommend checking it out. I grabbed the first couple issues a while ago. Decided to go physical this time, so you're mailing me something when the campaign's done. I'm holding you to it.
Oh, did you back the first
I did
Kickstarter?
digitally. I tend to go digital, and then
Oh.
so this time I caught up. So
Which is good that you got them, right? Because I don't hear. I think when people get their books or their orders, I don't hear like a. It's not like people send back, "Oh, thank you, hey, I got it." You know, it's not one of those like, "Oh, we're safe now. We're at home." You know, like when you call your parents, drive like long drive, you're like, "We're home now," or "I received your package." Like, you don't get that as a Kickstarter. People are like, "Yeah, I got it. It's
yeah,
about time." Right, and I get it. It's not like I back a lot of projects. I've backed 175 projects, 176 projects on Kickstarter. I've never once written back and said
yeah.
thanks. I got the game. I got the book. Like, that's never
And you
happened.
know what? It's one of those
Because
things. Like I never think to do it either, and yet when folks do it for me and they say, "Hey, I read the book. I really enjoyed it," it like, oh, blows you away. So just even knowing that it got there safely is one piece, right? And then
yeah,
knowing somebody read it and enjoyed it, it's like, don't feel darky about doing that. Like, do it. If you enjoyed it at all, even if you just received it. It's always nice to send a note saying, "Hey, I got it. It looks good." Yeah, you'd be
I,
surprised.
I just did it a couple of days ago with you.
Yeah.
I read your book.
Yes, that's right. That's right. We got you caught up on my book, which is nice. Yeah.
I don't think I've read a single Kickstarter yet that I've
Oh,
received.
really? You're
Uh,
just stockpiling them?
You're on the pile, right? Because like I got to read the monthlies, I got to catch up on those, or they start overwriting each other, and I need to know if I like the Kickstarters. I got them; they're there. They're not a weekly thing, so or a monthly thing. So they're off to the side. They're in a safe pile. You'll get read eventually. But I got to go over the stuff that's monthly because I'm buying stuff blind because I haven't caught
Yep.
up to it. So if I buy a new series blind, I want to be able to read it and tell myself I got to cut
Oh,
this
yeah.
off.
Now you're buying it for
It's
collection's
just,
sake, right? Because you're just piling up. Yeah.
yeah. So I'm just buying it to put in a pile right now. Is
Yep.
all I'm doing.
Yep. I totally get that.
And since I have since I have so I have a toddler, I got a day job, I got my YouTube channel, I'm writing these books, I'm running a Kickstarter, so I don't get time to like play video games or read comics unless I'm in bed. And then while my wife passes out, I got one of those beds where they're like two beds put together, but they go like that. So I can sit myself up, like hit the button, I just you know, so I do that and I just sit there and read, or I'll sit there and play on my Steam Deck because that's the only time I get to do it. So I haven't bought a console. Like I did get the new Xbox as a gift, but that was the last console I got that I realized I don't have any time to play consoles. Like I played Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and I think that was like the only decent game they had at the time when I got the Xbox. But like, I really want to play Spider-Man 2, but I'm not gonna buy a PlayStation 5 just to play Spider-Man 2 sometimes. So if even if I could commit, because I want to play that game so much, if I could commit, I would buy it and convince myself, oh no, at PlayStation 5, I'm gonna play the hell out of Spider-Man 2. I'm gonna love it. I would buy it just for that game. Because up until now, I just bought it on launch date regardless. I'll find something to play on it. I buy everything. I bought the Switch, I bought all the Xboxes, all the PlayStations up till now, like everything launch date, it's mine, I got it. And because I've been in the industry, in the video game industry for 25 years. So I was always in. And now I'm like, it's the first generation. I was like, PS5, no. Xbox, I'll wait till somebody gets me one for Christmas. Like that's how it worked out for me. That's the first time. The Steam Deck is one of the few consoles that I was like, oh, I can get this because I can play in the because my wife does most of the driving because she likes driving. I hate driving, so I just play my Steam Deck when we're going on long trips to like Toronto, which is like 2 hours from where I am now, and so I just play on there. I play in bed, but I can't in bed. I don't have time to play video games and read, so I have to choose. And right now, it's been playing video games, playing Cyberpunk.
Yeah, so you got to catch the in between times. And yeah, Cyberpunk's not a short game either. So yeah, you're gonna be in that for a while.
You know what is a short game I just finished was Untitled Goose Game.
Oh yeah.
So I like that. I like it. I needed something chill because I just finished
Yes.
playing Metro Exodus.
Oh
It
yeah.
sounds like I
Yeah.
play a lot because I just rhymed off 3 titles. But I'm like, if somebody sat down to play Cyberpunk, they get where I am in like 45 minutes. I've been playing for
Yeah.
2
Yeah.
weeks. Um,
Oh, I
like,
I
and
hear you.
Metro Exodus, if you check my hours on Steam, it actually probably says something like 300 hours. Why? Because I used to when I first tried to play it, I'd leave it on the menus and then I would just like turn off Steam or like I would just minimize Steam and just leave it running forever. So it's got hours of just ticking of me playing it, but I'm not playing it. It's just paused or whatever. So it's not actual playtime, but I'm terrible at
Yeah.
turning it off. I was like, because I want to just be able to get on, turn it, and just go, just start.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, they included that on everything now too, where you can do the fast restart. Not quite as good as Steam, but yeah.
I don't even remember how that started. Was that my intro?
That was your intro.
Like I told you, ask me the right question, and you're gonna have to pull the right.
You know what? You're making our job so much easier. So I'll take it.
Yes, so yes, you're one of the good
Yeah, that's right.
guests.
Okay, so with that, what we'll do now is we'll go to the prompts. We'll get started talking about what we're making today. We'll get Roberto's hands moving. All right, so ignore these prompts. Right now, I'm going to refresh them. Brand new prompts. Here we go. Okay, mostly brand new prompts. I'm going to read these out to you. So the first one stuck. Telephone tag, two people who never seem to be able to get together. World map, place a character in an exotic location. Drama queen, a character who always attracts drama. Dear diary, what secrets are hidden in a child's diary? And backhanded insult, write about a character being backhandedly insulted. These are all very direct and there's not much to the description. But that said, anything speaking to you,
Is there like
anything.
a theme overall that we're going for in this book, like horror, comedy?
That's fully within your
All right,
purview.
so
Whatever you feel fits with the prompt. Again, even the prompt, you don't have
I
to
like
nail it.
Dear Diary.
Dear diary, all
Yeah.
right. Dear diary. So you could go any which way with that
So
one.
like
You can
if
go.
it's so a children secrets hidden in a children's diary. So I picture this that the secret hidden in this child's diary is not what you'd expect. You open it up and there's like it opens up to a portal to a different world where like these like creatures can come through and he talks to them and he communicates and he can go in and out. Like there's an idea. So it's not just your regular diary where you open up its words, you open up its portal to like
It's a lot more
some
visual.
demon.
Yeah. Okay, I like it. Okay, so let's go with that. So we're going with Dear Diary, and it's going to be uh, a little more sci-fi than than anything else, I guess. But yeah, okay, cool,
Yeah,
cool.
there's a cool visual
So
there. You open up like like Venom showing up. It's kind of like was it Pulp Fiction, where in the briefcase, where it
yeah,
just glows. You don't see what's in it, but it's just like
yeah, I like that.
mystery.
I like that.
Well, the theory is that it's it's Marcellus Wallace's soul.
I like the idea, but they didn't think of it at all.
Well, it's because there's, in the back they show you Marcellus Wallace's head, and he's got a band-aid on the back of his head.
Okay.
And I guess there's some sort of story somewhere where this like soul reaper or something comes and sucks your soul out from the back of your spine or the back of your head or something. Like there's a story that ties into like, wait a second, he's got a band-aid on the back of his head. Maybe somebody stole his soul, put it in that briefcase, because you never find out what's in the briefcase.
Of course, yeah.
So
Yeah, that's part of the fun, right? But yeah, no, that's I've never heard that take
yeah,
before. I
that
gotta
was, that was
give
what
that
I
to you.
heard. So I don't know where I heard it from. The internet.
Yeah,
But,
I mean, I wouldn't put it past Tarantino for doing that, doing something weird and off the wall. But I don't know. I feel like I feel like that's a lot. Um, what I always find is that's funny. Like, uh, I heard once like Metallica talking about like what are the meanings in your songs, and it's like sometimes it just sounds good. Like sometimes it's not the words don't mean anything; they just sound good to
it
sing.
just sound good
Which
together.
right? So I wonder sometimes if that's all it really is, and then people kind of attach their own meaning to it, and you just kind of run with that. Like, yeah, it could be that, right? We don't
Well,
know.
it's easy because like
So,
I find even in, like with my story, with my like so-called living book, there's these bunnies in it, and people have asked me what are the meaning about it, and ironically, I started like it's been asked so many times. I started thinking it was like I didn't set out to put a meaning behind them, like anything deep. Like I had an idea of what they're about, but it's not like I had a soul like inner meaning hidden behind it. But then I started kind of thinking one up because I have this other idea would it be neat if there was one attached to it. So I just made one fit. It was
mhm.
my idea. So now if I tell people that's what it is, it's my idea. They're my buddies. But it's like
Yeah, yeah,
people think, oh, that's what we thought of the whole time. It's like, no, I thought of it way later. There were buttons.
yeah.
Books were all written. And I thought of it way later.
Well, that's how it comes to you sometimes, right? Is like you don't know what it is. It's just I think this is cool, and then the meaning comes later. Where it's like, oh,
Well,
that's where it popped out of,
I
right?
can't remember what interview it was. George Lucas was on like a late night show, and somebody asked them, like the host was like, so there's rumor, or there's like, it was a question of like a fan question of like, which planet are these people from or whatever. I can't remember. I saw this clip a while ago, and I don't remember it very well, but it's enough to say that they asked him what planet was it, where they from, were they born, and George Lucas is like, um, and the guy hosting is like, don't make it up. Like I want to know if there's an answer. Like don't make it up now. Because that's what it sounded like he was gonna do. Like he was just gonna be like, "Yeah,
Yeah,
Alderaan."
he's just gonna feed you something.
Because if George Lucas says it, then
Now it's
then
canon.
yeah,
That's it. Like,
that,
yeah,
it's got to be. So if he's the god of that, he's the god of that universe, right? If he says it, it's done.
yep. Like it or not, right? Yeah. So I get that, especially when it's something like so. What's the word? Like people are just so into the canon,
Yep.
right? Now it's become dangerous. So it's like that was never his intent is for it to grow the way it's grown, and now, yeah, he says something offhand at a, you know, on a talk show, and people are building universes off of that.
Yeah. It's
That's insane.
but it's cool to have something that creates something that's that crazy popular, right?
Oh, that's
Yeah,
yeah. It's
I appreciate the popularity. Like I like the movies because I like big budget things. I like events. I like movies that are events, right? But I'm not.
yeah,
I wouldn't call myself a Star Wars fan, right? I like the movies,
yeah,
but I never classify myself a Star Wars fan. I never been like, "Ooh, another Star Wars movie." I'll be like, "Ooh, another big budget movie." Like I'll go watch that. And like Lord of the
yeah,
Rings,
yeah.
I like it because it's a big budget, pretty thing. But I'm not a Lord of the Rings fan either. What I am a fan of is the MCU. That's my Star Wars.
I'm with you there.
So
Yeah. Although I've always been more of a DC person, comics wise, the MCU is hard to beat. I mean, let's not talk about the DC movies, but the but Endgame was, yeah, it was the most perfect ending to any series of films I've ever seen. Right, like it, even though it cheated here and there and it left out what it needed to leave out, like it still felt like given how they had a decade of storytelling to put a cap on, like they managed to nail it.
yeah,
I have no idea how, and now they're struggling beyond that because it was such a perfect like end
yeah.
note,
I find the problem
right?
now is they seem to be focusing too much on making everything funny. I was like, let
Yeah,
Deadpool be the funny. Like that's his thing.
yeah. There's certain characters you can do it with. Even Thor, they built into like more of a comedy, but even then,
Too far.
the
They went
latest
too
one
far
was
with
too
this.
far. Yeah, right. Like Ragnarok was like okay,
Like you watch
right?
Avengers, and like they make Robert Downey Jr. make a joke here and there, but it's like this like sarcastic, straight faced humor, and it fits. And then he also can bring a serious tone to it. But Thor's
Yes,
always seems, even when he's like sincere, it almost seems like a joke. Right?
yes. That last. Yeah, was it? No, not Ragnarok. What was the
No,
last one? Love and Thunder.
blood.
That was like the problem. There was no straight man, right? Like everyone was being
Well, yeah, the
funny.
villain he played it straight, but it was like he's
Yes,
surrounded by
yeah. And it felt like a different film entirely,
like
right?
I was hoping like I need them to straighten it up. Like I everything like they have their comic relief with like Ant Man and Spider Man. You know what I mean? Like that's that's where they got their most jokes. But Spider Man's like
Yeah,
that in the comic book. He's like always cracking jokes.
yeah, exactly.
Ant Man isn't really, but I'm not used to that.
You cast Paul Rudd, so you have
Yeah,
to, right?
you got to do it. But I was like, okay, I'll give it. That's how they start. They've kind of that's his thing.
Yeah,
But yeah, everybody else it's too far. Like they
yeah,
need to bring it back. Bring like get some serious stories in here. I'm bummed that what's his face Kang messed up his
yes.
the court case
Like,
because he like slapped his girlfriend or whatever. I was just and I'm so upset. I was like, he was such a good Kang.
yep, yeah. And that's the thing, right? It's self inflicted. Like there was no need for him to do all that, and now took the whole franchise with him, so they have to get Robert Downey Jr. to save it.
I'm really curious how they're gonna do that story.
Right? I'm not as upset as some folks. Like it's let's let them do it and see what happens. Right? I don't know.
I hope Thunderbolts is good because they got
Hmm.
Century in there, and he's one of my favorite characters.
Yeah,
So
yeah. There's a lot of interesting ways they can go with it. But again, the trailer came off a little bit jokey, so
yeah,
we'll see how
and
that.
again, if they throw a joke here and there, I don't mind a joke here and there. It's
Yeah, levity's
but if
okay,
they do it
but
too far, like if they can't take anything seriously, like even if they're near death and they're still cracking jokes like all the time, it's like there's no.
yeah,
It's different if it's like it's somewhat serious, and then maybe they crack a little bit of a joke in the serious note, but
yeah.
they still keep it like they know when to die.
If it breaks the tension a little bit, yeah,
They don't. It's just they take it too far.
yeah. They just fully, yeah, they just want to make it a comedy, regardless of the genre they're going for. It's whatever
Like
comedy,
I found like
right?
when Bucky showed up and
Yeah,
he was like all serious, he was like, "Wow, is this whole Bucky showing up? It's affecting Cap, and he's like a serious fighter. He's a serious threat." Like Civil War, he was awesome in Civil War.
yeah, yeah.
And then they have his own show, and he's in therapy, and everything's a joke. And it was like, aren't you like
Yep,
a mass murderer?
they nerfed them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they did. Absolutely nerfed him. So I was like, just don't. I don't even want to talk about
Yeah.
what like Sony did to Venom.
Oh, that's like I don't know, that's unrecognizable, right? Like,
Like that's
and to build a franchise off of that. I mean, it did well, so now they're just leaning into it fully. But
that buddy
yeah,
comedy thing. I was like, I liked when I first heard about Venom. I liked the cast, and I was like, and the face looked
yeah.
great for Venom. But then the
Oh yeah, like this is gonna be amazing, and then it's a straight up comedy.
yeah, I feel like people are too afraid to make a villain movie about a villain doing bad things. Like they have Kraven the Hunter coming out, but he's not really a bad guy in the movie. He's a bad guy killing other bad guys.
Yeah, it seems like that's a rights issue too, right? Because they can't have Spider Man.
Yeah, I know, but they could have him being a bad guy.
Yeah,
He killed innocent people. But no, he's
yeah,
like not that's what the whole story should be about. But I don't feel like he's a bad guy at all. Like I don't feel like any of these guys are bad guys. Like they're afraid to make a bad guy movie.
yeah. It's Craven in name only. Roberto, while I get,
Yeah, maybe the real Kraven is the father.
I
yeah,
think he's a gangster. It's what's his face? The guy from Gladiator, right? Isn't he
Um,
the father?
yes,
Russell Crowe.
Crow,
Yeah,
Russell Crowe.
Roberto, when you can, share your screen. Show us what you're working on.
Yes, I forgot about that. Yes.
Now we're gonna get a nice surprise of what he's been doing.
here we go.
Um,
I'm on the edge of my seat.
Here we
Oh my
go.
god.
Oh my goodness. That's quite a it's quite a piece you've been working on with Otis. I see we're going
We don't have to work.
at.
It's just an idea. If you don't like it, we
No,
can
no,
do
no.
something else.
I like to see what comes out of this thing.
Yeah. So is that what is that? Is that panel 1 or is that the final panel?
Just an idea. We can we can take the idea and
No,
don't use
let's roll it.
the
This is a
drawing.
brainstorm. So
It's no
it's a
problem.
piece of everybody in this, right?
Yeah. So okay. So let's talk the story and then we'll get back to talking our being upset with the state of film.
Yeah.
Uh, so all right. So it's this kid. What was so the prompt is
See the diary?
Dear Diary, right? Dear Diary. So how do we get? So I feel like this is an ending,
Well, this guy's
right?
secrets. I don't know if it's an ending. It could be like, this kid's been in his diary. Well, it depends. See, I don't know. I wouldn't say that's the kid that's his diary. I would say it's his friend being nosy or an older brother, right? And
Yes.
he's just like, what's his obsession with his diary? And then he opens it up and he's like, holy crap.
Oh, I like
What
that.
is
So it's almost like a heist situation, a low stakes heist.
like, maybe he's like, what is my brother into? Right?
Yeah.
And I
Okay.
can
No, I
see
like.
him in the background being like, no, stay away from my diary. And he's like,
Oh,
what's
hey.
the big ideal, dweeb? And he opens it. He's like, holy crap.
So maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's the brothers fighting, like they're roughhousing to start, right? And yeah, he's trying to get him to hand it over, and he won't. And when he finally does, he's like, "Yeah, like this is the end result."
Because it seems to me like, yeah, he's trying to stop him, but it seemed like the guy who opened it is surprised. Like he did not expect a demon to come out of that book.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I think you're onto something really good. Okay, yeah. So this is our ending. Yeah, and then it's maybe just some roughhousing, some teasing to start it. Um,
Well, if we're gonna start, it could be like, yeah, the start. What if you just see him kind of like looking through his diary or something,
yeah, yeah.
and then
Right.
it could be the older brother spying on him. They're like,
Mhm.
what's that dweeb doing? He's playing with his little girly diary again.
Yeah, yeah. Sounds appropriately older brother, correct? Yes.
And then in the middle there, that's when you can have the roughhousing, where he's like, "Give me that." He's like, "No, give it back." Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, and then snatches it
When
away, and then
when he
that's
opens it, he's like, "Holy crap!"
I like it. I think we've nailed the story.
Bit off more than you can chew.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, no, I think that works. I think that
It's a
works.
good twist at the end.
Yeah. So does any of this come from experience? Do you have older, younger siblings or anything like that?
I have three older sisters, but they're much older than I am. It's like I had four mothers really. So it's yeah,
It could be a lot.
so I didn't have a relationship like this with them because they were so much older than me. So they're they're like all my moms are built-in babysitters. So they didn't play with me or anything. They took care of me
Sure.
because they had no choice. So
You were the burden. They wanted to go out and party, and
I was
they had
so
to
they
stay
just
home and take care of
well
Mark.
that's why I went with them everywhere. So
Yeah,
we
yeah.
were together. So they just dropped me. They're like, okay, you can't stay with this one. You can stay with this one. You can't stay with this sister. You stay with this sister. I feel like different parts of my life they had me at they had each sister had a chance to have me at different parts of different stages of my childhood where I was this one the most and then this one and this it seemed like it went down like I started with the who did I start with? I think it was the oldest sister and then the middle and then the youngest um, and I think it's because me and my youngest sister we didn't get along very well. We always argued, which really she was arguing with a child, so it's on her. I remember
Fair.
a New Year's resolution I made. I was like, you know what? I'm just not going to argue with my sister anymore. I'm just not going to do it.
Mhm.
And then I remember us walking to the variety store, and I said something, and she started in with the argument, like, blah, 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 and I was like, nah, okay. I didn't fight back. I was just like, okay.
Broke the cycle.
Yeah, it did. And I don't think she's ever realized that since that day, like, since I made that promise, we've never fought again.
That's amazing. Yeah, sometimes it's all it takes, right? Like it's just it's so easy to fall back into a routine,
But it's funny, I
right?
was like 10. I was like 10 years old, and I was like,
Very mature 10-year-old thought.
I'm gonna be the adult in this situation, and I'm
Hey,
gonna stop fighting with my sister because I was like, I think it's out of control.
yeah, that's cool though. That's good. That's it's much more maturity than you'd
Well,
expect from a.
my childhood
Nope.
was very much me um, taking care of myself because
Yeah,
my parents are old school Europeans, so like they just kept me alive. Like they fed me, right? Kept me
yeah,
dressed. They did the
yeah. Well,
like they did the important things, right?
yeah.
So it's yeah, but when it comes to when it came to like school, like they had no idea how well I was doing in school. They had no idea what course I was doing. They never saw a report card. I signed all my own paperwork. So like I forged everything. So they never saw anything. Like, and even when I had a school bus picking me up, they were out to go to work before I left for school, and I got home before them. So there was one. I was in grade school, and I didn't go to school for a month, and they would call home and I'd answer, and be like, "I'm sick. My parents aren't home. Bye bye." Click. Like they'd
Yeah.
never get a hold of my parents. I'd never let them get a
Oh
hold
wow.
of my parents. So, and that was it.
So latching in, like for real. Yeah.
So yeah, everything I did was on my own. And when I went to high school, I got in a little situation where I actually ended up going to court. I was
Oh wow.
I was not the bad guy in that situation, by the way, but I ended up going to court and because I was attacked in high school, and the cops. Well, I went to the hospital. There were like cops involved, and my parents never knew.
Oh wow.
I went to court,
Yeah.
and they never knew. I think I might have been. I was like 17, 18. I don't remember that, but they had no idea. So I have like stitches in the back of my head. And my sister was like, "Oh, where'd you get that?" I was like, "Oh, I just started telling the story. Oh, that's when this happened." I'm like, "When the hell did that happen?" I was like, "When I was in high school." And then what happened to that
Oh
guy? I
wow.
was like, I don't know. We went to court. He got charged, but he was underage. Um, but yeah, he was underage. So that means I must have been underage, unless he was younger than me. I don't know. But anyways, yeah, he didn't get. He pled guilty,
Hmm.
and that was it. Slap on the wrist.
Yeah. Youth Criminal
Yeah.
Justice Act or
So,
whatever. It's like, oh, you'll learn.
yeah, I was there. I had two witnesses that came with me.
Oh my goodness.
And yeah, all this stuff happened, and my parents had no idea it ever happened. They found out when I was in my 30s.
Wow.
And my sisters were like, "You never knew this?" She's like, "No." I think
Because how would we
my
know?
mom
Nobody
was
told us.
shocked.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just thought my life was boring every day because you never asked how the day went. Anything was like, I don't know, what am I
Yeah.
gonna do?
Yeah.
Like anything I told them, they don't understand. Like I could, like they don't get it because they don't understand the fact that I'm an artist. I like to draw things. They're like, oh, so you're wasting your life away. Is that what you're doing?
Yeah. Yeah. Why aren't you a doctor?
Yeah. So I
Yeah.
was like, okay. Well, they liked the fact that I was going to be an architect there for a while, so they understood.
Oh, I got the same story. Yep. Architect was the way. Yep.
I didn't become an architect because I loved it. I loved it. The only reason,
Oh yeah.
and I was really good at it. The only reason I didn't become an architect was my last year of high school because I had a technical commercial school where they did a lot of very technical things. So you could do technical drawings, and they taught me from like grade 10 and on. And
Nice.
it was really cool. And I learned everything, learned the standards, book of standards, how to draw everything, everything from how to roll my pencil to keep it sharp as I draw a line, everything I learned here. And I love doing it. But the last year, they were like, okay, this year we're using AutoCAD. It's a bunch of
Mhm.
computers, and teach yourself how to do it. Here's the rule book. You can tell the teacher was just not impressed. Like they're forcing him to do this, and he didn't want to do
Yeah.
AutoCAD. So, and he didn't want to teach it. So he just said, he's like, there's the instruction manual. You guys teach yourself how to do it. There'll be one assignment at the end of the year. You're either going to pass or fail. I was like,
That's a that's a stubborn way of teaching.
So I failed. I was like, I'm not gonna read. The manual was like ridiculous.
Yeah, sure.
I was like, this is like thicker than the Bible. I was like, I'm not reading this thing. Um, so I just failed, and that was the year I was like, maybe architecture is not for me. But like, if I had
Yeah.
somebody teach me how to use it, like I pick up pretty quick on software. But if somebody just taught me how to use AutoCAD, then I would pick it up.
Mm-hmm.
But if nobody teaches me, then I'm like, I don't know what to do.
Well, and you're in high school too, so you don't have that like that party that's like I could learn this without someone teaching me,
Yeah,
right?
and that was before the internet.
Yeah.
I could
Right. So
YouTube it.
yeah, it's a little different of a world where now it's like, yeah, I'll buy some course online and I'll figure it out overnight. Yeah, no, a little different
Like
if you don't
with my
have the,
YouTube channel, like I edit my own videos, but I taught myself how to edit videos. Um, I never edited any videos before that.
yeah,
Well, I did
right on.
once, but it was like using iMovie, where it's just like drag, drop, transitions, just like silly things like that. But when I got to
Sure.
my channel and I started doing like some actual editing, and I was using like Premiere Pro, so I taught myself how to use that. And I taught myself how to do some After Effects animations for some advanced things,
Nice.
and so that goes on. If I had any questions now, I can just YouTube it.
Yeah.
Like, how do I move multiple frames at once? How do I do this? How do I use a frame as a mask, like, or a layer as a mask, and just type all these stuff in YouTube? Like, here you go.
Yeah, it's a different world. Like even when I was in school, it was like, it was all digital was new. So right when you're doing film, it was film.
Yeah.
So you had to learn how to cut on a RE, which was different.
Yeah, I
You
learned
had
how
a
to develop film in a dark room.
oh
I
yeah.
did that a lot actually in high school because we had a print shop class. So whenever we had to like develop film so we could do whatever with it. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah.
So I didn't know what
It's clearly stuck.
I didn't
Yeah.
know what the requirements were. Um, and because it wasn't photography class, it was a print shop class, but we developed a lot
Okay.
of film there,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
like things that we exposed to paper that we filmed in that we made. We used that to make like presses. Or, I don't remember. I don't know. I just know I spent a lot of time in a dark room, going from
Yeah.
one bin like acetone or whatever the hell they're called. I
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
remember anymore because I don't need to remember anymore. It's not a thing. And then my co-op ended up being like being a photographer's assistant, which I like doing, but I don't know how I
Oh
ended
wow.
up there. It was like the only place that would accept me as a co-op that I could find because I'm a procrastinator. So I was like, okay, last minute I'll go find one. And this one person was a photographer, so I was like, okay, I guess I'm back in the dark room.
Nice.
And photography is not like it's not my bag. It's not like I don't mind taking pictures, but it's not something that I'm like, ooh, I can't wait. I don't have that photographer like, oh, I want to create a cool photo. Like it's not in me. That's not my thing.
So even with the YouTube, you don't find there's any
I enjoy the video editing. I enjoy doing videos. I enjoy editing. I enjoy writing. I don't enjoy doing that all in a crunch mode where it's like there's a deadline. You have to have this done by Friday. That I don't.
Sure.
That stresses me out. But if I didn't have an end deadline, then I would just do it. I would just do it for fun. And,
Yeah,
and I like doing it. I'll try just new effects and things like that. But as far as like the Instagram stuff, like in the beginning, I tried a little more doing like getting right shots using a white box to take close-ups of miniatures and board games. But then at some point I was just like, photography is just not my thing. It's not that I hate it. Like I appreciate good photographer. Like I can read
yeah.
good photography and appreciate it. But that love in me to take the effort to light a scene and do all that is not in me. But I appreciate somebody that takes the time to do it.
Yeah, yeah. But you have the foundations. Well, clearly based on your YouTube, you have the foundations down pat. Like you got a pretty slick YouTube channel. So
I tried to
it's definitely paying off.
I think I tried to